Hi all. I'm in my outdoor office today, and today topic is 7 lesson I learned the hard way, or just 7 lessons that life had taught me. And I would actually say one of them is when you're in the cold, you just have to be in the cold because right now I'm outside and it's quite cold, and I think I'm sitting on ice as well because my outdoor office chair is loaded with snow. And you know what? I just got to do it because I'm outside. Um, and I got my bench today, so I thought, why not just do it outside? I may have to stop here and there and put on my gloves, but yeah, it's I just had to go to a little function, and returning from that function, I thought, I really want to do my video outside and I don't want to go in and do it inside. So I thought I would do it outside for you guys today. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jean Roberts. I do vlogs, mostly inspirational, stories, life lessons, yeah, motivational, self-development, but mainly it all my videos is mainly about starting over and beginning again, and doing it over and over and over until you get it. And I'm not saying you have to get it right or wrong. You're just going to get it because I'm telling you, trying to get it right all the time do not work at all. So I find that one of the biggest lessons for me that I have learned throughout my life is this one: no one is coming to save you. Take a moment. No one is coming to save you. Even when they show up to help you, you still have to save yourself. Because if someone come to help and they give you the information or they taught you how to fish and you still cannot fish, that is, you have to take responsibility. And one of the things I find in life is the amount of people around us that do not take full responsibility for their part, the part that they have to play, which is your life, and all that is happening for you or around you or to you or however it is you want to view it, you still have to take responsibility at some point. Yes, something may happen that is not your fault. However, you still need to take responsibility. So I found out the hard way that no one was coming to save me when I end up in a mental hospital because, they told me that I had a breakdown, that I had a mental breakdown. And it could have been a very easily fixed where I would have seen a psychologist and this psychologist would have evaluate me and I would just get to go home. But as that story go, it was a long drawn out kind of process that didn't happen right away. I went, into a psych ward. I got the wrong medication. And the next thing you know, I am in an asylum somewhere. And finally, one day, I realized that no one was going to save me, not the doctor, not my family, not my friends, not my neighborhood. Because actually, most of these people had turned their back on me. And the doctor, to this day, I don't think the doctor knew or know what was wrong with me because I have never had this problem throughout my life. And now that I'm 63 and this happened to me when I was around 24. I wrote a book about it. It's called Secret of an Island Girl, written by Jean V. Roberts. So you can check it out on Amazon.ca. I wrote a whole book about what happened to me at that time. So I wrote a memoir and published it myself, So kudos for me. Anyways, that was a very hard lesson to learn. It took me a long time. I have always been a free spirited person, always hanging out and Lyman back there, then in those days, because I was in Grenada in the Caribbean, and that was a fun place to be. And it was a fun time to be young and growing up on an island. So that was in the 80s. I was growing up. Actually, I think, yeah, that happened to me in the 80s, but I'm a 60s born, and I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s, right? So the 80s, I guess the late 70s were mostly a lot of fun. Yeah, late 70s, early 80s were a lot of fun. Life back then was, well, I thought it was easy until I got my lesson in change. That was a huge lesson because that lesson forced me to change whether or not I wanted to change. And sorry, I might be shouting, and I hope this is coming across cool because I lost my mic. That is another story. Now, second lesson, if you don't have a job, your job is to find a job. That's your job. So your job is to wake up every day and do something every day towards finding a job. And that could be simple as you send in 3 resume a day to 3 different company. Or you coming out of your house and you're going to 3 different establishment and finding the manager and looking for a job. Or you decide you want to build your own, have your own job, you want to be an entrepreneur, then you create I guess you create a little business card and you go out and you share it. Or you go by the street corner and you ask your friends for a job. Or everyone you meet in your neighborhood, you tell them you're looking for a job. So if you don't have a job, your job is to look for a job. Your job is to find a job. So instead of just sitting around home and say, I don't have a job, you basically have to go out and look for a job. You have to treat your job hunting as a job. You may not be getting paid, but here is the thing: you invest in getting a job quicker, or you invest in your own self and becoming an entrepreneur. And there's all kind of side business you can do. It took me a long time to figure out that there are side business that might be seem small things, but you can sell a t-shirt, you can bake a something. There must be something you're good at that you can do. Maybe you're good at talking. I'm very good at talking. I think, my voice is my purpose in life, to share what I know, what I have learned, what I have gained, my struggles, my triumphs, all these things, to share and have and do with you guys, right? So the third lessons I've learned is that change is a choice. You see how I say at the first time, no one is coming to save you, right? Yeah, when you get that, then you know that you have a choice to make. And that is what change is. Change is a choice. No one ever say, I love change. No, when you get stuck in your ways, you know how people say, that's how I am. That's who I am. That's how I show up in the world. I say this all the time too. And the truth is, that's not who I am. I can actually change, but change is very challenging. If every day you are eating a hamburger every day, for the last 20 years, and then you decide, I'm going to stop eating this hamburger, that in itself would take some time. Maybe you would stop, but your body, your system is going through that change. And it would take some time before you release it. Maybe you're a smoker and you want to quit smoking, and it is hard. It is challenging because, that addictive part of smoking is just hold you hostage. And when you stop, you are fighting against yourself day after day. And it's a fight, it's an inner dialogue. And the inner dialogue is your mind is used to this thing that you do. And I can tell you, I would say I had my own scientific experiment with that. So almost every year, I go fasting for 4 days and 4 nights with no food, no water, in this indigenous community, and we go fasting. And let me tell you something. Fasting for one day is hard without food or water. Try doing it for 4 days with no food or no water for those 4 days. I mean, every single, I don't even think you think about food. Well, actually, I know my earlier years of fasting, I never thought about food in any way. Hello. I never had to think about it at all, my earlier years of doing that. However, I think it was not last year because I've been fasting every year now for the last, I think maybe about 8 years already. But lately, because of I made a commitment, I am doing it at least 3 times a year, um, and um, and I'm actually going to do one at the beginning of April. So we shall see how that goes. But I remember it must have been about 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I can't remember. I was fasting, and it was challenging. It was really, really, really hard. And all I can think about is, how much I wanted water. It was like it's like it become its own mantra in my head, like just like my own mantra. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. And finally, I got this. I don't know this download, and I got this download or this inspired thought that whenever I feel this discomfort, because it was very, very, very uncomfortable. Whenever the uncomfortableness come and the thought, the thought in my head that I cannot override telling me that I want water, I started doing this thing that actually saved me. And to this day now, when I fast, and that's what I do. When the urge come for me to feel thirsty, when the urge come that says you need to drink water, I say to myself, it's okay. You're not used to this. This is temporary. That's it. That's it. That's all I just say to myself. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling. It's okay that you're feeling this way. This is temporary. You are not used to not having water in the day. And that mantra has helped me a lot throughout the couple years that I've been fasting now. So whenever I go into fast and it's challenging and it's hard and it's difficult, I say it's okay. I talk to myself, I talk to my body. I said, it's okay. You are not used to this, and this would pass. And every time that feeling would pass. And yes, it would come again, but it would pass, right? Could you guys see the little snow falling in the background here? Anyways, fourth lesson I learned is pay yourself first. Yeah, here I am at 63, and still don't know what my what my retirement is going to be looking like, because yeah, let's face it, it's a hard wall out here, it is challenging out here. And but the thing that I've come to realize is this: pay yourself first, or have a plan, do something. As 10 years ago, I bought a house with my son and a friend, and I said, this is my retirement plan. Fast forward, the house is sold, I paid off some debt, and then I put another bit away for my, a 7 years retirement plan as well. So have a plan, but pay yourself first. Whatever you get in your paycheck, put a quarter away, pay yourself, and pay yourself in a way that you're not going to sell out. So when you put the money, put it somewhere that you cannot take it out. Make it difficult for you to take it out, right? So that's the fourth one. Now the fifth one, start where you are. Don't try to start ahead. Don't try to go to the future. Don't do the past. Don't let the past stop you from starting where you are. Don't let the past noise of, oh my God, I've done this before. I've done it 100 times and I'm getting the same result. And you haven't tried to change what you're doing. Going back to change is a choice. Yeah. You're sitting and carrying on about, oh, this and that, and you cannot move forward. And yeah, no, start where you are. You have to start here, right in this moment. You can plan to start, which is okay if you know for sure you're going to start. But don't fool yourself by telling yourself you're going to start next week when that is just something you have been telling yourself a lot. That is the past. Telling yourself you're going to start next week, that is past behavior. that hasn't actually changed. So decide and start where you are. Start small. Start, the same way you eat an elephant. You have heard this before. You can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. You can only take one step at a time. You can only climb that mountain one foot in front of the other. And believe it or not, when you start saying it's only a day at a time, you might be able to get through it. We might all be able to get through it. Here is the kicker. This one I don't like at all, at all. Expect setback. Yeah, we're going to have some setbacks. Right now, actually, in this moment right here, I'm dealing with some setback, like real setback, and it is frustrating. It feel worrisome. It almost feels, my nervous system is not liking it, and lots of setback actually. One, I did my taxes, and yeah, I actually have to pay a lot of tax this year because I sold a house that I wasn't living in, so I have to pay tax on that, and that is quite. I wasn't prepared to pay all this money. Plus, my accountant, she went from charging me about $250. She doubled my fees. She's charging me $500. Actually, she has charged me $500, and that is a setback. I didn't prepare for that. You know, I didn't. I don't. I have to have money to do that, and the fact that I have to pay taxes and pay her, you know, um, a whole 50 foot, like I guess it's 100% markup, double my normal fee. I wasn't prepared for that. That is a setback. The other setback I'm having, my husband should have gotten his all his stuff right now, and his stuff is on a standstill due to some unforeseen thing. And it's really an unforeseen thing. It's on a standstill. And now it's been more than a month. And that is a setback. So in a sense, we prepare for setback by reminding ourselves that there are certain things that we have no control over. And I mean, that is easy to say. Here is the hard part, to live with the fact that you have no control over it. Because I got to tell you, living with the fact that I have no control over that shit, I'm exhausted. Expect setback. I'm exhausted. On the other hand, one of the things we can say to make ourselves feel better, we can say some people have it worse. Those days when you were eating and your parents, you're not eating all your food, and your parents tell you, the children in Biafrica, because they used to call it Biafrica when we were growing up, the children in Biafrica have nothing to eat, when they comparing you and telling you that, yeah, the truth is, it doesn't matter who have it easier or harder than you. The truth is hard, and that's it. It's not, they don't have it harder. It's just hard. Hard is hard. I used to think I haven't suffered the way other people have suffered. When I had my breakdown and I went to the asylum, I thought I couldn't share my story because I didn't suffer enough. Yeah. And then one day I was reading some book and it said, suffering is suffering. Yeah. If you're suffering, you're suffering. Suffering is suffering. And hard is hard. That's what it is. And we are the ones that make this decision that that is not hard enough and that is not this enough and all of that. And the seventh lessons that I know that I've gotten really good. This one is the best. Let me tell you, don't give up. Begin again. This here is a new beginning for me. Do I know whether or not it's going to work out? I don't know. Am I going to stick with it? As of today, I would say yes. I can say yes today and hold on to that, right? I am already 73 days in, so it seems like I make a commitment and I am here to stay. I am loving my earrings, aren't you? Yeah, it gives a little pop, 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 pop. And it match, right? Yellow and red, yellow and red. Yeah, begin again. The truth is, it's never, ever, ever too late to begin. The thing about beginning again is it is different for sure. It's not the same like when you were 20 and you can just, brush it off your shoulder. When you are in the third act of your life, everything is sweeter, everything is better, everything every day is brighter, life is fuller. From my perspective, anyway, that's my perspective. I was watching a program with Hell's Kitchen, or is it Kitchen Nightmare with Gordon Ramsay? It depends on if you're in that kind of a field. Gordon Ramsay used to do the Kitchen Nightmare thing in, 2011 and back in the day. And he came to help this older couple. They're in their 70s. So, and I mean, and these people open a restaurant. They used to run restaurant, and then they stop and they decide, they bored in their old age, so they're going to open a restaurant. And I get it. I mean, we don't have to retire. We can find other things that keep us focused and keep us excited in life. And they found a restaurant. But here is the thing: the woman, she didn't want to change. She was having a hard time. I don't think she knew that change is a choice. She was stuck. She was stuck in that way of, although they begin again, she was stuck in what it is she feel that she needed to do the way she needed to do it. Don't do that, right? Don't give up on yourself. However, know that it can be different. It depends on when you're beginning again. It depends on the age that you're starting again. Anyways, my hands are frozen, like my fingers are frozen. It's my little note. And yeah, you can say what you want. I have to walk with my notes because it's yeah. So do less, be more, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. I'm just out here trying a thing, beginning again, and repeating, rinsing and repeating every day. So here you go. Have a good day.